There's an interesting startup story. There's a private company that's doing essentially life extension that a bunch of rich people put $3 billion into. You want to tell us, Friedberg, in your science segment, what is this going to make us live longer or not?
Well, I think I mentioned this company a few episodes ago, but I think they just announced their $3 billion investment. And again, this goes back to the point I made on the prediction show. So last week, Altos Labs announced that they've landed $3 billion in funding. And this has been an ongoing funding that's been going on for quite a while into this business. But this business was set up to commercialize Yamanaka factor-based cellular reprogramming for age reversal. And there was a paper published just yesterday. I'll put a link in the show notes that if people are interested in reading a scientific paper, they can take a look. Incredible results. Scientists took mice, gave those mice short bursts of these Yamanaka factors, and then measured all the biomarkers, all of the chemical signatures in the blood of those mice to determine their age. Because there are known ways that we can measure the age of an organism by looking in their blood at measuring certain biomarkers. And with just a few short bursts for about a week of these drugs, these Yamanaka factors, the mice, all of their age signals reversed to making it look like they were very young again. And it did not do what the challenge has been with Yamanaka factors in the past, is if you put too much of it in a body, in an organism, the cells rejuvenate to becoming stem cells, which is kind of like what a fetus might have, and starts to grow a lot of tumors. They were able to avoid having tumors show up in the mice. And the mice, in fact, all looked extremely young from a biomarker basis. So an incredible result, an incredible paper, whether or not it gets repeated and shown by others. But I think this speaks to the quality of the science that's underlying the $3 billion investment that was just made in Altos Labs, which is probably one of the biggest seed investments ever.
No, it clearly is the biggest seed investment ever in a startup.
And I think it speaks to what I highlighted as what will be the new frontier in biotech and will completely rewrite the course of humanity, is if we can take drugs and for a short period of time completely reverse the age of our cells. And it sounds so crazy and so wacky, but it's being now proven in a single week. We've now had an amazing paper published, and we've seen the startup announce their $3 billion of funding to pursue commercialization of this technology. And this is going to be the year. I think this will be the front cover of a lot of magazines this year as people realize that this is real and that it's getting commercialized.
Why do you think they have to start with $3 billion? And I'll tell you why I asked the question.
Yeah.
Whenever I see these grandiose prognostications of future progress and then see these companies raise exorbitant amounts of money, I have never found a single example where it's ever worked. Ever. Right. In fact, every time I see a company raise an exorbitant amount of money in a Series A, I write them off in my head.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So why should I not in this case?
So,
or it's more actually a better question. Why would somebody listening to this pod go work there and take the Series A equity?
By the way, the same has been done and can be said about Calico, which is Alphabet's subsidiary that's pursuing similar research, where billions of dollars have gone into that business. And there's a similar sort of research track underway. And I think the general principle, Chamath, is they don't know what the product is. They don't know the way to market. They don't know, what area they need to explore. But the underlying principle is proven. The underlying principle is something that people believe in. This science is proven. This science is real. We don't know the commercial path, and we have to try lots of different things and run lots of different research programs in parallel to figure it out. And each of those research programs is like a $100 million biotech startup. And so I think that the principle is, let's put a lot of shots on goal all at once in parallel and make sure, because if any of these shots on goal work, this is going to be worth many, many billions of dollars. So I think that's generally the idea. It's almost like having a $3 billion venture fund, but the venture fund is targeted at one core area of interest that we believe is real. And I think that's the way a lot of these things are being set up.
But I'm asking this question. Have you ever seen a company try to do 30 different things and it works?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the typical capital allocation, milestone-based funding scheme. I have a theory about this.
But it's not a product market fit thing, right? It's a research program, and it's a series of research programs. But I mean, look, let me reframe it for you, Chamath. Have you ever seen a $3 billion venture fund that makes 100 bets with smart people at the helm, with smart people working at the individual businesses fail, right?
Yes. And in fact, I've never seen a $3 billion venture fund do much more than return 2x of money.
Yeah. Well, look, let's see. I mean, it's a big bet, and obviously there's some people making nice management fees and nice carry on this thing.
I'm not trying to be a wet blanket. I'm just curious, why do it that way? Meaning, every startup.
Let's get Bob Nelson on. He'll talk about it. He set it up. Yeah.
Every startup, I think, is forced in some ways by the market to make an educated guess about where product market fit lies and to try to build some minimum viable product. That tends to be how value is created. I mean, you could have said that, Google could have had 90 different algorithms, but, Larry Page started with Backroom. That's how it started. He had to make an educated guess that
you had to make decisions, and that's what startups about.
You have to make decisions, and you have to make a bet on your own intellectual veracity.
Why don't you put all your capital into one company?
Oh, because mostly the companies won't let me, but I would if I could.
Oh, interesting. So I think that what's happening here,
you're absolutely right. If I could, I would, but they don't let me.
You could put all your money back into Facebook or forget Facebook. I know you got issues, but what about Alphabet or Amazon? Just put all your capital in one bet and just, write it out.
Right. But then it comes to what I think where I can generate the best return, meaning, I think that I could generate much higher returns than what I think Google will give me.
Yeah.
That's why I do it.
Well, here's what I think is happening here. There are a lot of rich people who are going to die soon, and they're counting down like Bezos, and they're saying, why not, if I'm worth 100 billion, put 1, 2, 3 billion into this and have them go for it, because I've got nothing to lose because I'm dying in 20 years. This is a fear of death by billionaire bet, which is exactly what I think happened with the Google guys. They were just
I'll also say the team involved in these projects are not first-time founders or people that are great pitchmen. It's people that are repeated, tried and true entrepreneur success stories that have done this over and over in biotech. And they're the ones that are being drawn into working on these projects. And they're saying, look, because we've got the people that have done it over and over, give them the capital. I mean, do you think that's a good argument, Chamath? Yeah.
No, I believe in Yamanaka factors, and I believe that there will be innovation. My only question is the innovation going to come through a small team that raises a small quantum of capital with one very focused idea that gets it right? Or this sort of, Monte Carlo simulation approach to product innovation? And all I'm saying is just an observation that historically, it's been very difficult for these Monte Carlo simulations to ever work, either to generate product market fit and an innovation and to make money. Now, hopefully these guys are the exception that proves the rule, because I think we'd all want this to work.
No, it's a great point, and I hope you're right. And I hope to start that small project and wipe.
Now you're saying the key thing, because despite the $3 billion, you're still going to go after it, which implicitly is your 100%. Way of saying I'm short that company and I'm long my own company. And this is the point I was trying to get to, which is when really, really smart people see these things, they tend to look at it with a grain of salt, thinking it's very difficult to build a startup as it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of like growing great wine. You need to have a little pain and suffering along the way. And when you have $3 billion, it's the opposite of pain and suffering.
Totally true. And I'll also say, let me just support your point, which is the people I see get hired to big projects like this, and there are a number of them that get funded, not just also in other kind of deep tech stuff. They hire the tried and true experienced executives who generally have older kids and live in a nice house and have made a bunch of money. And the earnestness, the motivation, the hunger, the fuel, the creativity, because they know what they know and they're not willing to accept that they don't know what they don't know. Those folks generally are less likely to succeed than the folks who are doing this maybe for the first time, for that very reason, when you're doing something innovative. So I totally support your point, and I really do hope you're right. But
I thought, Jason, when you were talking about startups,